Good evening. Today is Tuesday, November 15, 2022. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting will be hybrid, allowing participation both in person and in the City Council chamber and remotely. We may be tracked on the Zoom link as well as on the Facebook Lawrence City Council page and the YouTube City Council page. At this point, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilor Anna Levy.
Present.
Councilor Maria Dela Cruz. Councilor Pavel Payano. Absent. Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez. Councilor Gregory Del Rosario.
Present.
Councilor Selena Reyes. Absent. Councilor Stephanie Infante.
Present.
Vice President Estela Reyes.
Present.
President Mark LaPlante.
Present. Will you please rise and join me in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will deal with the minutes at the next meeting. At this point, we'll begin with public participation. Again, 2.5 minutes. At the 2-minute mark, the bell will ring. Please address the chair. Mr. Mali, you're first up this evening.
Humayun Mali, 53 Chester Street. Good evening, honorable members. We, the citizen, demand of you and Honorable Mayor Brian De Pena the best contract for Lawrence Police now. Lawrence Police Department, with the impeccable leadership by Honorable Chief Roy Vask, has done an excellent job to protect our citizens. Lawrence Police, this union of pride and honor, deserve the best contract. Our city is a beautiful city because of hard-working DPW workers. We support DPW union and their leadership. Million thanks to Honorable Superintendent Cynthia Paris, one of the best superintendents in the history of Lawrence, for granting contract to our teachers and Lawrence Public School paraprofessional and cafeteria workers. We are grateful for that. Our city is the best example of respect for union right from our best police department union, firefighters, teachers, and DPW union. We, the citizens, are united to demand the best contract for Lawrence Police. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for your sacrifice. Contract for Lawrence Police now. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Rick Freiberg. Mr. Freiberg, are you here for the water? No, something else? All right.
I'm here for easements at Riverwalk.
Okay. Why don't we, when the item comes up, we'll have you speak at that point. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for public. Thanks, over there. Public participation. Thank you. The name and address is given to the clerk for the official record. We have a lot of things this evening, councilors. Let me start off with one congratulations. We actually have State Representative-elect Estela Reyes in our midst this evening, and I guess I can officially congratulate the Representative-elect for her victory on last Tuesday and for representing Methuen, Lawrence. Is there a bit of Haverhill as well, or no Haverhill? No Haverhill. Methuen, that's enough right there. So Methuen and Lawrence. So congratulations on your victory, and we look forward to working with you in the State House.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Councilor President.
We have a lot of things this evening. Councilors, we have a lot of stuff. I'm going to ask, just because we have a lot of things, again, We've got major issues that we're going to be dealing with. That we're going to try to let everybody have a chance to speak, of course, ask the questions they need to get asked, of course. But I'm asking folks if we can be timely and sharp in the questions, and those who are giving the answers to the questions equally timely and sharp, and go right to the answer of the question so that we can get out of here at a decent hour this evening, meanwhile getting the information that we need to cast votes. The very first thing this evening, I'm looking to have a motion to take document 22922 off of table matters.
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Dela Cruz and seconded by the Vice President. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. I believe there is already a motion to approve. That was document 22992, the naming of the new Francis Leahy School in recognition of Patricia Mariano. There's already a motion that's been to approve this at this point. Councilors, are there any other councilors who wish to speak on this matter? The matter is already to approve. Are there any city councilors who wish to speak on this matter? Councilor,
Motion to approve?
you already have it. Do you wish to speak on this matter, Councilor?
Yes.
Councilor Dela Cruz. Sure, if you want to do that, yeah. I guess we could do it that way. There's a lot of ways to do this. While we're waiting, will the clerk please call attendance for Councilor Selena Reyes?
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Thank you. Thank you, Council President, and thank you to all the city councilors helping me recognize Ms. Pat Mariano. When I moved to this city about 20-something years ago, I met a principal who was willing to allow the community to move forward. And I remember meeting at her school at 6 o'clock in the morning with a group of parents before we go to work. At the same time, I remember the time when she got a news about one of her students that the mother got into an accident and they don't have any other relatives. And the school and Miss Mariano, they were there to support this kid and to support the family. I don't know if you remember that, Miss Mariano, but I do remember having the door open at the Leahy School at any time with Mr. Balbuena and Pilar Cabrera at that time, when we had to organize the PTO in the city of Lawrence to make sure that we get a high school. And at that time, we were fighting for $110 million for the new high school. Then Ms. Pat Mariano, believe it or not, she opened the doors and she was willing to allow us to be there anytime, in the morning, in the afternoon, and at all time. That's beside, I believe everybody has a different story from Ms. Mariano in this city. Everybody has something to say that it touched the heart. Then, Ms. Mariano? I'm not going to read everything because Mr. LaPlante needs more time today. But I will say that Ms. Pat Mariano, to most of know as Pat, was born and raised in the city of Lawrence, and is a lifelong resident who has been and continues to be active in many community-based organizations. As you know, Ms. Mariano belongs to the LEA, to the Cultural Council, to San Alfio Society, and many more things that you should know. Ms. Pat Mariano, the daughter of Sandy and Joe Gifrida, she attended Holy Rosary Grammar School, St. Mary High School. She earned her Bachelor of Science degree in education from Lowell State College. She went to earn her master's degree in school administration and is currently certified as an elementary teacher, principal, assistant principal, N6 and 5 through 9, and supervisor director from K to 12. Then, Ms. Mariano, I'm gonna leave all this for you to read it at home. We gave you 2 copies for you to enjoy it. And
Thank you.
to have your name being in the history of the city of Lawrence is an honor. It's an honor because everybody will have to know who is that lady. Having the library of the new Leahy School on your name will be what we, the council, have wanted to see in this city. And thank you. Thank you for everything you did. I was gonna take a picture.
Oh, okay.
I want to thank you and everything. Can you come over there to say thank you? All
Yeah,
the
could I
councilors?
just read something
Okay,
that I wrote?
go ahead.
I don't know what the protocol is, but
You have the floor.
I have the floor.
Madam
Oh,
Chair.
you're going to regret saying that, Council President. Good evening, Council President and councilors. I don't know how to express how grateful I am for this honor you are bestowing upon me. Particularly, I would like to thank Maria Dela Cruz for initiating this resolution. Maria, thank you so much. The Leahy School was and is such a significant part of my life. My time there as a building principal was marked with many wonderful experiences. I had never worked with such a loving, dedicated, and supportive staff. They made my job a pleasure. The families were so special to me. We built a trust that was as solid as the building's cornerstone. They welcomed my open door policy and would drop in at any time to ask me to help read their mail or fill out applications or just chat about their child. No one was ever turned away, and the support the school provided for our families was reciprocated through each family's eager participation in workshop series, English classes, and many more activities. As the years went on, I recognized the dire need for a new school. I knew our families truly deserved a school that would meet the needs of the Leahy families. And my hope has and always will be that the Leahy School would become a community center where families would be comfortable and find opportunities for success. Walking through this weekend for the last time will be bittersweet. If the walls of that beautiful building could talk, it would list all the happy moments, successes, and challenges, and it would also say that it's time to make way for a new school, which will become home to so many families. Having my name on a small part of the new Leahy School gives me comfort, knowing that my dream for the Leahy families will live on. Thank you again for this wonderful honor. I truly appreciate it.
Can you tell us the council?
Council President, may I introduce my family that I'm so thrilled to have here?
Yes, you may.
Okay. With me tonight, in the second row is my daughter Chrissy, my campaign manager, Anthony Mariano, my son Joe. Hiding behind her mother is Sophia, and my daughter-in-law Kelly, my brother-in-law Scott, and my sister Joanne. My husband unfortunately could not be here because he's not with us right now. He's at a rehab, and he sends his best wishes and thanks for honoring me in such a way.
Would you be, there's some counselors who may want to say a word or two, so I know we want to shake your hand, but before we do, I'd like to recognize Councilor Del Rosario, then Councilor Infante. Del Rosario's first.
Thank you, Council President. Pam Mariano, I wanted to say thank you for all your service and everything you have done. But what we're doing today, it's also making a new path of what we should do on a regular basis. We should recognize people when they are alive. We shouldn't wait for them to pass to put their names on stuff that the names belong. So I'm happy that we're doing this while you're still with us, and not wait for you to be gone and give it to your kids or to your family, because you can enjoy it. This is what we need to do, create new history. I want to go to places that I can tell my kids, this is Pam Mariano, I met her. And this is what we need to construct from now on. recognize people where they are alive, and create new history. Thank you for everything you have done, and whatever we're doing right now is because you well deserve it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Counselor Infante?
Thank you, Council President. Mrs. Mariano, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you to you. When I first met you, I was a school committee member at Greater Lawrence Tech, and from the minute I met you, you were so student-centric, and you laid a foundation for me to work off of and set an example for the future generation leaders. And that is something I will always have in me, and it came from you, and I'm very appreciative of your work, and thank you for everything that you do for the city of Lawrence.
Thank you, Stephanie. My pleasure.
At this point, if there's no other comments, I'm going to call the Counselor Levy.
Thank you, Council President. Just only to say thank you for all the work that you've been doing for this city, for this community, and principal for the children. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
If there's no other counselors who wish to say anything, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Congratulations, Madam
Thank you.
Chair.
All right, just let me get my cane.
Council President? Second?
Motion to recess made by Counselor Rodriguez, seconded by Counselor Infante. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
No, the ayes have it. We're talking about maybe a 2-minute.
2 minutes.
Yeah, but why don't you do the counselors first?
This is great.
Here we are. One, two, three. Thank you. Family now. I got you. Y'all gotta
Yeah, they gotta
love each other, hug each other.
act like they like each other.
One, two, three. I love it.
Is there a motion to come out of recess?
So moved.
Second.
By Councilor Infante, seconded by Councilor Levy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Council President. Yep.
Council, while the clerk is getting some documentation for us, I'm just going to ask for what we do typically at the end of the evening. Let's go through our committee assignments so we can get that out now. Ordinance committee, there's probably going to be some ordinance stuff. When's the ordinance going to meet? When will the ordinance committee meet? We have-
Tuesday,
so we
next
have
Tuesday.
Monday and Tuesday of next week. And next week is Thanksgiving week, to keep in mind. So I doubt we're going to do anything on Wednesday, but I think Monday and Tuesday are open, and we also have an extra week this month. We have a fourth, I think a fifth week, so we have one more week as well. So ordinance would look to meet when?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay? We have, Mr. Piano is out this evening, so Budget and Finance and Personnel. So Budget and Finance Vice Chair, that you'd be you, Mr. Rodriguez? Okay, when would you, need to take a look here? We may not be meeting. Let me take a look at the agenda real quick. We do have a meeting. We do have stuff. Go ahead, Monday? Monday at what time? At 7 PM, Monday, Budget and Finance. What about Personnel? Vice Chair is over here, right? Vice Chair? Who's the Vice Chair? That's you. Sorry.
Okay. What time is the ordinance again on Tuesday? 7?
I'm looking to see if we will have a city attorney stuff.
City, so does 6 o'clock work for the rest of the committee, that same day? Okay, Tuesday at 6.
While we're waiting for the clerk, we would probably go into, for one of the items with Councilor DeMarco's thing, but we're waiting for the clerk to come back. She's getting some information that we're trying to get off the computer. If there's no objection, I'd like to take the communications from mayor, city officials, and city attorney. I'd like to pass the gavel over to the vice president so I can give some comments. Madam Chair, thank you so much. And I'm fascinated by city memorials. To me, memorials give insight into a community and its people. When I visit a city or town, I make it a point to read the signs and memorials that cross my path. It helps me to better understand my community. I'm working on a project that researches our city's memorials. I can't tell you how many memorials we have because I've been discovering memorials that have been lost. In this respect, we have failed to remember those we promised that we would never forget. So far, I have found information about the forgotten Henry Mann Bridge, the Edmund Mays Bridge, the Raymond Duckett Clubhouse, the Arthur Boudreaux Pool, and the Edward O'Sullivan Park. Each of these individuals have fascinating stories and that I look forward to sharing. Fortunately, the council can help correct the unintended slights and oversights that have occurred. Through this project, I am developing a deeper appreciation for our city council predecessors while learning about our city in a profound way. Knowing our city's history helps me be a better leader and decision maker. Through research and reflection, I've developed my guidelines for who I would support for naming a city property. You have your reasons for supporting or opposing who is worthy of a naming. On this question, there is no right or wrong answer. The decision is subjective and reflects our times and the people we represent. They are truly personal decisions. Here are my 5 guidelines. Number 1, the person must have a direct Lawrence connection. They must have at least visited the city. It is preferable if they were born, lived, schooled, or worked here. Number 2, I will not support changing the name of a city property. Changing a name is the equivalent to canceling the person and dismissing our council predecessors who made their decision years ago. I have sponsored and supported a few memorial proposals during my 17 years on the council. I would not want those decisions canceled by a future council. With few exceptions, once we have decided to honor an individual, we as a government should stand by that decision. Number 3, an individual should not have more than one property named after them. This is redundant, unnecessary, and then puts us in a difficult position to determine not only who should receive recognition, but how often and where. It would be a better use of time and resources to focus on upgrading the signs to better tell the story of the recognized individual. Also, a naming is not a thank you. Rather, it is an opportunity to honor, inform, and remember what made that person special. Number 4, I will support an individual who either led a life of distinction or was involved in a noteworthy cause or event. That person must be special or extraordinary or notable. And last, since we have far fewer parks than street corners, the standard for naming a park should be more substantial than a street corner or a square. There seems to be an increased interest in naming of city properties. Because of the city council rules, as a council president, I'm unable to give my opinion on specific naming proposals before us at the full council level without leaving the chair. Therefore, I am taking this unusual opportunity to communicate my perspective and rationale on any future items that may come before the council for a vote. I want to thank you for listening, and I hope this is helpful and useful. Thank you, Madam Chair. That's it. Back to the agenda. Madam Vice Chair, you may.
Document is 37922, naming of
Under
again.
table,
379.
under table items?
No, that's ordinance committee.
There's a motion to take document number 37922.
So moved.
Motion is made by the Vice President, seconded by Councilor Infante. Are we just taking it out of order? Is that what we're doing? What's the motion? Out of order, all in favor say aye. Opposed,
Aye.
no. The ayes have it, Madam Chair.
Document 37922, naming of park at 1 Island Street in honor of Mr. Nuzion DeMarco. It has been put in the agenda by Mayor Brian DePena and Councilor Levy. It has been sent out with the favorable recommendation, and I make that as a formal motion.
So move.
Motion made by the Vice President, seconded by Councilor, who said it first? Councilor Reyes, apparently. Discussion? Councilor Rodriguez, Councilor from District D.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've received a few emails, and I know that there is people here that would like to speak on these matters. There is not public hearing on this, but I would like to extend the opportunity through you to anybody that is here to talk on this behalf, if any.
There's no objection to that. Is there anybody, I mean, we talked the, if there's anybody here who wishes to speak, I guess we'll entertain that at this point. If there is, go right ahead. We just ask that, feel free to make your comments. We just ask that they're not redundant because we have a full agenda, but feel free.
Good evening, Council President, councilors. My name is Daniel Jimenez, and I've had the pleasure of knowing Nuzion DeMarco most of my life. It is my honest belief that this park couldn't be named after a more deserving person. Growing up in the DeMarco household and getting to know the man that is Nuzion DeMarco, one thing is indisputable. The man you saw in his home was the same man that was shaking hands out in the streets. Very few people have the integrity that so easily was part of Nunzio's character. From the age of 8 to 21, I've helped with his political campaigns and community outreach events, going door to door, handing out flyers all over the city, holding signs on the corner of Parker and Bailey, cleaning debris and overgrowth from several lots around the city were some of the ways I've spent growing up in the city of Lawrence with Nunzio. He taught me the importance of getting involved in the community and the tenacity it takes to be an active member in the political field. I've celebrated with him during his victories and empathized with him during his losses. His passion and devotion to the city and his drive to want to make it a better place for everyone was something I always admired and respected about him. In closing, I just want to say that Nunzio DeMarco was a man that was very passionate on improving the lives of those around him and his community. He deeply cared for his family, and he held that same feeling with his fellow community. His lessons have shaped me into the man I've become, and I will continue to instill his teachings to my children. Now, there's just one more thing I'd like to add. Given the circumstance of the event, I think it's important, and it describes the kind of man, selfless man that Nunzio was. The man literally saved my life. 25 years ago, when I was 9, I was attacked by a pack of dogs at a soccer field behind the old Sons of Italy, which is now Commonwealth Chevy. I vaguely remember all the details, but I can vividly recall running down the field with a 65-pound pit bull latched on my arm, while 3 other dogs followed and circled around me. At this point, I felt no pain, and just complete shock had taken over. Without hesitation, Nunzio, upon finding out what was occurring, ran out and immediately threw his keys at the dog that was latched onto my arm. At this point, the dog had let go of my arm and focused his attention on Nunzio. He then proceeded to land powerful kicks and punches to the dog. And at one point, I can recall he was even wrestling with the dog on the ground, holding the dog down by its neck, until finally, by the grace of God, the owner showed up and the dogs just disbanded. If Nunzio hadn't been there, I probably wouldn't be here sharing this story. To this day, I still reflect on that moment, and this scar serves as a reminder of the selflessness of that man. He was willing to sacrifice everything, his life, his family's future, to ensure that I'd be alive and well. I don't know many people who would have done the same. And for this, he will always hold a special place in my heart. That being said, it would be an honor to someday walk my daughters through a park, that recognizes a man that once saved my life and a man who so selflessly helped countless others. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak on this matter? All right. I believe that, is there a motion? There is a, okay. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening. My name is John Harden. I live at 38 Congress Street in Lawrence. I just wanted to say a couple of things about the piece of land that we're discussing tonight and that you're making a decision on. And I don't think there is any denying that Nunzio was a wonderful man that did a lot of good things for the city and for the children in this city. From what I have read about him, he devoted his life to education and greatly enjoyed playing soccer, and obviously did some other wonderful things based on the story of that young man. But with this particular piece of property that's in effect, there is a very significant historic element in play here that I do think needs to be strongly considered. Lawrence was home to one of the first comprehensive water treatment systems in the country. And that was because of outbreaks of cholera that were happening on a regular basis and killing people. And there was a water treatment test station situated on this piece of land where the park is. And it was run by a woman. This woman basically developed some of the modern water treatment principles that we still use today and that were used for decades by the state to measure water quality. She was the first woman to ever be accepted into MIT. She was the first woman to ever graduate from MIT. She was the first woman to ever become a professor at MIT. As much as I think it is a natural inclination to name significant spots after local people that have done some really good things in this community, I think it's also important to, recognize things that have happened here that may not have been locally grown, but had a huge impact on the community itself, the way that people were able to live here, most of whom were immigrants living in crowded conditions and, suffering the debilitating effects of things like clean water. I also think that it's important that we start regularly recognizing women more in our everyday life and across the country, and celebrating their notable achievements in these ways. I do not want to take anything away from Mr. DeMarco or what he did or what he accomplished, but I was listening to Councilor LaPlante read his 5 points of consideration for this, and the thought that I've had is that, to me, when we're naming something after somebody, whether local or not, there should be a connection, to that place or the theme of what's being done, and I wondered if it would be, more appropriate to name, a school or, or a soccer field or, something that Nunzio had a, connection with in his heart, for this. But, that's for you to decide. Mostly, I just wanted to make sure that you had all of the facts about, what occurred in history at this site and the significance that it has for everyone in the country. So thank you very much.
Well, talk about having all the facts. I was here last Monday. I behaved. I was very nice. I wrote 2 pages about the way I feel about Nunzio DeMarca and what I witnessed that he did for the city and for the people. And I was going to write something again today to back up what I said, and then I realized, and I started getting angry. And anger is not the way to do a presentation, such as this one. But I don't want to be a pawn. I don't want to be just something that you move according to wishes and needs. I want to be recognized for what I am, for what I can contribute to society, to this city. And I'm putting myself in the shoes of Nunzio, and I see that everything that he did was being forgotten here now. And what got me really mad that I stopped, I didn't even want to write anything. What got me really, really pissed off was that a very powerful organization in this community already has taken it for granted that it's going to be approved, and they changed in their website the name of the Ferris Park / Ellen Swallow Richards Park. What are we? We are the people that are representing the interests of the city. We are the people that Nuncio served. We are the people that are grateful for everything that he did. And it's a shame that he died so early, because he had so much more to give. I owe him who I am today, if that means anything at all. What do we owe this person that came to work here from Westford? She worked mostly in Westford and Lowell. Let Lowell honor her. But she came here to work in the 1880s. She worked here for a few years. Tell me, where is the honor in that? What did she do for Lawrence, for our people? I think that if you go along with that, we are a laughing stock of our own city council. I don't know what else to say, but I just feel that we're being used. Is it because a powerful organization in the city has already decided and taken for granted that this is going to pass tonight? I'm gonna leave you with your conscience. But if you do, you all have lost a lot of respect from me.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Not, I believe that there is a question on the floor. Any other councilors who wish to speak? I don't see any councilors.
Yes, Council President.
Councilor Levy.
Thank you, Council President. But like I said at the ordinance committee, I met Nuncio de Marca when I came. I met Nuncio de Marca when I came here to Lawrence. And I owe him practically what I just learned today. So he was the one who guided me to start learning ESL classes. Because when I came in here, I do not speak any English. But not just only that, so he encouraged me to continue getting to college and having a couple of degrees right now also at the Northern Este Community College. But when I met Nuncio, everybody who talked to me about him, that met him before me, I just only hear good things about him. He was also a member of one of the major group in here, Hispanic Week. He was also the president of the Hispanic Week. And that Hispanic Week at the time was in bankruptcy, with a lot of money behind always to the community. And he was the one who helped this organization grow. And we had a lot of people in here, in this room, who know who was Nuncio. Nuncio had so many people in touch. Now you can see what I can remember his name right now, that he was always available to help anyone that was in need. When I was in college, he also tried to work with me, trying that the CEO of the college gets new program or bring new program to the city of Lawrence. If the city of Lawrence had Northern Este Community College right in here in the city, it's being owed to Nuncio de Marca. and I can say that. We have all the ESL classes in here helping all the Hispanic and non-Hispanic also people is being owed to Nuncio de Marca because he was the one who brought most of the program right now that is being taught at the Northern ESL. There are so many things that's, that Nuncio did for this community. And he is one of us right now, and I think that we need to honor him, naming the park in his name. Thank you.
Any other councilors who wish to speak? Seeing none, there is a motion on the floor, and the motion is to adopt. Councilor Dela Cruz.
I don't want to repeat what Anna just said, but if you came to this city, you find out the people who were helping out others to move forward. And Nuncio de Marca was there teaching, helping people to become citizens, helping people to get whatever they need. When you move to a city, you don't know where to go. You don't know where to go. The Nuncio was that person that was finding solutions, was helping a lot of people to get jobs, and he was there for everybody. He spoke Italian, he was there for the Italian community. He spoke Spanish, he was there for the Spanish community. And I believe he spoke more other languages. Then we had to have that respect for somebody who came out of his own culture to help out other people in need. When I say other people, I think he helped everybody in many different ways, I never saw that man sitting down waiting for people to do for him. He was always available, always giving an advice. I remember him going to the radio station. I'm always telling people this is the best thing to do. We're working for the community. Then he was like a brother to all of us, and I had that respect for that man.
Thank you very much. Are there any other councilors who wish to speak this evening? Other councilors? If there's no other councilors who wish to speak this evening, there is a motion on the floor. The motion is to adopt what is currently known as Ferris Park to be Nuncio de Marca Park. I'm going to ask for a roll call vote. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario.
Yes.
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 Councilor Reyes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries. Congratulations. I got to tell you, that young man changed my vote this evening. We're done with this. Do you want to?
I understand that. I mean, thank you very much.
Okay.
I appreciate that. But seeing that there were a lot of people here that came specifically to speak on information about my father, Nuncio de Marca, because like you said, it's not common knowledge, right? People know based on who knew him and people who didn't. I don't know if it was possible for them, being that they all came here, to respect their time and also give their point of view on the topic. I appreciate it went through.
It went through, and to be honest with you, we have a lot of public business that we need to accomplish this evening. We're about to talk about trash, tax rate, water rates. Each one of those is fine. I don't want to say no. I would encourage you to use the media that was here earlier this evening to tell the story, and then you can give that story to the rest of us. I think we've heard the story. It was a unanimous vote. We get it. And so now I think it's our job and your job to get the word out about what a tremendous individual is. And hope you can I appreciate what you're saying. It makes sense, but we do need to work on, we have a lot of things this evening.
That's
Thank
fine,
you.
and I appreciate that, just like you give me the time to speak. But one thing I'd like to end it on would be great, and I thank you all for voting unanimously in favor of him. But one thing to make it clear is in his case, I just want to make it why it's there, and I'll say it again, said it once before you interrupt me. It's an honor for the park to be named after him, not the park, not he being named after the park, if you understand what I'm saying. But he is someone that worked and helped people, not because it was his job, but because of what he wanted to do. And that's one thing that, to follow the criteria that you mentioned previously, makes him an exceptional person. Now, thank you very much, and I'll get out of your way.
Thank you so
continue
much.
doing the public work
We
and
appreciate
follow
that.
through his footsteps.
The clerk is asking for your name and address, please, sir. The clerk is asking for you.
My name is Miguel DeMarca. And do you want the address?
You don't need it?
I'll
We're
say.
good.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. We're moving on.
One more item.
Oh, my goodness.
$78.22. Motion to take it out of order. 78.
There's a motion to take 37822, Interfaith Metal Lawrence Youth Violence Prevention, to take it off, out of order. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. I'm looking for a committee report of Mr. Rodriguez, Councilor for District D.
The Budget and Finance discussed this item, send this item to the full council as a committee report, and I would like to offer that. I would like to present that as a committee report.
Second.
Motion to send a committee report by the chair, vice chair, seconded by the state rep-elect. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. You have the floor, vice chair.
Well, essentially, Council President, we discussed this item. We have the representation of the mayor's office as well as the representative of the different churches and faith community present here that are going to be doing this program in front of us and probably able to answer any question that the council might have. So at this point, I would like to extend that opportunity to any councilor that have any questions in regard to this program.
Is there currently a motion? Was there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by the chair, seconded by the vice.
No, there's the committee report.
We already had that.
Okay, so
Right,
a
so this is a
motion.
motion to approve, has now been seconded.
second it, yeah.
Discussion. Councilor Infante.
Thank you, Council President. Do we have, oh, this is old business. Do we have supporting documents for this to explain how this is going to be used? I don't. We have to. Huh? Councilor Reyes is going to send it to me. Thank you.
I would like to,
I mean,
if he's
I don't know if
here.
there's any other councilors who wish to speak on this matter. Councilor, the vice chair wishes to listen to the audience this evening, so your name, please, for the record.
Father Joel Almono.
Question, Councilor, you just want to?
Yeah. The
But
Council
first-
President, Octavian Spanner, Senior Advisor to the Mayor. Good evening, 200 Common Street. Before Father Almono does his presentation tonight or ask any questions that you may have, I would like to just, because I was not present during the Finance Committee, if you recall, we presented the Mayor's Neighborhood Safety Program not long ago, and a couple of, I think it's a month ago, that we did a presentation. As part of the Mayor's Neighborhood Safety Program, we thought it is very important to work with with different nonprofit organizations as well, including and also our businesses. However, it's very important for us to acknowledge the importance of faith-based organization in our community. I think you all know that better than I do. For the years that you have been, some of you have been many years living in the city, and you know the roots, you know your constituents, and you also know the organizations that exist within your different districts. It is very important for us to work with in solving our problems, and some of them are very complex problems in our communities, and not only the existing, but also to have a preventative approach to make sure that whatever problems we have in the city doesn't escalate or even happen. So because of this importance, a couple of weeks after the mayor was sworn in last year, the group of faith-based organization, I forgot the name, Amador? Interfaith and Amandal approached the mayor. There were approximately 27 members that approached and sat down with the mayor and voluntarily offered their services to the mayor. At that time, we were not even having discussions about funding, but how the organization or the different churches within the interfaith organization could assist the mayor and contribute in helping families, helping youth, helping counseling families, and also address the issues of COVID. At that time, it was still prevalent. At least we had higher numbers, and it was a very, we were in that crisis. The subsequent that meeting, we have developed, we were working already on our neighborhood safety program, and after we developed together with CISU the initiative, because the city found that, we can have staff to be working this. This is a community effort, and especially following the mayor's slogan of "Now it's the people's turn," we decided to also bring in the interfaith organization and different churches that met initially with the mayor to have them participate in this program. During that time, we spoke about two approaches. One, that obviously, because they're faith-based organizations, and they have been working already within the community with different initiatives. I think we met all of you as well that are here, that are present. And they requested that, or they told the mayor that they're willing to get involved in the neighborhood safety initiative, but they also wanted to have their own style and own approach based on their knowledge of the community. So we, in subsequent meetings with the interfaith, they presented the budget, and that has been included in the budget that has been presented in the neighborhood safety initiative. $300,000 was allocated, of which 205, I believe 205, was for different activities that these churches would do in terms of gathering the community, meeting with them, create public awareness, and another portion of those funding, which would be the remainder of that 300,000, would be dedicated in some of the counseling activities as well. And we both agreed that since there are already working together and independent, that those funds would be administered through the city and would be set apart, but that is the total it forms part of the total budget of approximately $1 million. I think it's $900,000 and change that has been presented initially in the neighborhood safety initiative budget. So I will leave now any other questions for you, if you have it, whether to the mayor's office or to Mr. Father Armano.
Any other questions for the advisor Spanner?
Yes.
I see Counselor Levy.
Thank you, Council President. Well, okay? Well, I just remember that my question was how this gonna interfere, you know, right now. So this is part of the neighborhood safety initiative, and we approve this, how this is gonna interfere with the other program. Because I see so that the other one is still not being approved, so this is a piece of the other one, how this is gonna work.
No, it's not going to interfere. This is a collaboration. This is a collaborative effort. This is not, the only reason why we wanted to have this, to have the interfaith organization present this to you, so you can further understand that they have a responsibility within the community. You all know that we have hundreds of churches in the city. So it's amazing and surprising, and I wish many other communities can have this privilege in having a group of different, interfaith, different denominations that come together to work with the Mayor's Neighborhood Safety Initiative to make, you know, Lawrence a better place to live, work, and do business.
No, I'm not talking about the other group. I'm just talking about the neighborhood safety initiative. So, and this is part, well, this is part, the money is gonna be part, that is what you already said. The
Yes.
money is gonna be part of the neighborhood safety initiative. So if we haven't still approved the other one, so what is gonna happen if we approve this?
This has been presented to you. This document has been presented to you. And if you look on page Page 9 presents a partnership with Faith-Based Initiative. This is page 9. I think this document has been presented to you the day that we did the presentation about the Neighborhood Safety Initiative, and if you look at the end of the budget, that explains the $939,250 total cost of the project. The issue is what we're presenting, or the organization is presenting tonight, are confirming their collaboration and that these funds, we are not, these funds are going to be, basically CISU, what CISU is going to do is they're going to supervise the outcome of the program in terms of funding the interfaith being already established as a body, because they've been working together. Then the funds that are going to be as part of this, if you see item strategy number 9, the budget has been presented, is $300,000. So from the $300,000, 205 would be part of the church, the interfaith activities, and the remainder, which would be $95,000, would be used for, let's say, additional. The reasoning that we came after the $95,000 additional is that every time we have faith-based organization working voluntarily in the city, they have families. Volunteering is good, but they are also making the sacrifice, and $95,000 in providing additional services to them is nothing.
Thank you so much, Director Spanner. Any other members of the council?
I haven't finished yet, I'm sorry.
Councilor Levy, you still have the floor, go ahead.
So, yes, I understand that. What I'm saying is that still this project hasn't been approved. So if we approve, are you gonna allocate from this? You're gonna
A
allocate
portion
it?
separate for their
And
organization.
when you bring the project back, so this is gonna be taken down?
Yes.
Okay. So do you know when are you thinking to bring back the neighborhood safety initiative in front of us?
Yes, we have discussions. We're meeting with, we have to meet with the finance director the CAFO, as well as the different department heads that are working with different initiatives. I have Susan Fink that is helping me out as part of making a recommendation together with the CAFO in order for us to present this to the City Council.
So you
We
do,
expect this to happen before the end of the year.
so do you know from where the funding is gonna come?
Yes, the funding is going to come from the ARPA, what went basically the free cash now, because ARPA funding has been transferred to free cash officially.
Padre Almono, I have a question for you. It's okay. So when do you want to start, or when are you thinking that your program is going to start?
It's interesting because we start working. We started working. We prepared many details, but we are continue working. But officially, we try to start in March from the next year.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you so much. Any other counselors? Okay, Counselor from District E. Anybody else? Okay.
Thank you. I have a question either for Pastor Malo or Advisor Spanner. Through you, Mr. President. How many kids are you planning on reaching through this program?
So the goal is that the funds would be used by 30 different churches throughout the interfaith groups, and that each church would have an activities that would reach 70 people. And that among that, we estimate about half of them would be youth and children, but we want to reach also families so that the impact is greater, not just to the impact is for the children and youth, but the whole family would be invited to the activities.
Excuse me,
So
would you
about 1,000, the total goes 2,100, so it'd be like about 1,000 kids, youth.
Excuse me, could you just give your name, please, for the
Oh,
record?
sorry. I am Pastor Cassandra Chavez, 11 Salem Street.
Thank you. I do have a follow-up question. As I read through the memo that, the document that was provided, third paragraph, the study done by the U.S. Department of Justice in 2019 identified risk factors that challenge the family environment in the homes. I'm seeing that one of them is family bonding and conflict. So once I read that, I instantly thought about youth or kids that may be part of the LGBTQ community. And I'm wondering, will the churches be open to guiding these kids who are having issues at home because of their preference of lifestyle? Or is it going to be, or is it not going to be available to those families and kids and youth?
Yeah, I mean, within the interfaith group, we have a variety of churches. So we have Catholic, we have Seventh-day Adventist, we have Lutheran, we have whatever. We have all the different kind of Christian churches. And so there is a variety of how that is normally addressed if it were like a religious Sunday service. But this program is not meant to be tied to religion. It's faith-based, so it has a spiritual base, but it's not like affiliated with any of the belief systems of any of the churches. So these activities should be open to all people, where the goal is to invite professionals to also come, like a therapist or someone that can actually address and support for these different families. So yes, it should be open to all people and supportive of all people.
Thank you.
Counselor from District A, followed by the counselor in District D.
I wanted to say, trying to work together for our community. As we know, kids tend to talk to the people around them. And sometimes we're not gonna solve everybody's own problems, but you can save one child. You're not gonna solve everybody's problems, but you can save one child. Then I think that if we are expecting two interfaith churches, let's see what's going to happen. Let's talk about results on one kid at a time. I think everything is new. And it is hard to say, I'm going to save 100 kids from the community. I think saving one child, if each church can save one child, I think you have close to more. And that is, working with teenagers and kids, you never know. But like I said, let's support the program. Let's see how it works. And let's have high expectation of the people that are in our community already working with the kids with no money and trying to help each family as well. I think that this time, if a family needs bread on the table, these interfaith pastors will be able to provide. And it is about time that we don't expect to see the line of 20, 40, 50 kids, but that we see the community working together, one from the south, one from the north, everybody working together with the same idea. We're going to save a lot of kids. When I see kids on the street at 9 o'clock, I always stop them. What are you doing on the? Then that's what we're going to do. That's why I hope that this program of interfaith will do, to save one child from this. Work doesn't work. At this moment, let's put the faith that you all going to work together, and we as neighbors in the community will help out. Money is not enough when it comes to teenagers and when it comes to poor communities like ours. But at the beginning, this is something. And I will approve this tonight because I think that is talking about my kids from the community. They are my children. Saving one, like Mr. Denuncio DeMarco, we save one kid from the door, and we can save one child from the city. And send them to college, providing educational tools, and teaching them how they can prosper in the future, and working and benefiting and going to college and making a difference. That's my hope from your program. Thank you very much for being here.
Councilor from District D.
Thank you, Council President. I would like to ask a question that I already was asked at the subcommittee level, but we haven't touched base at this level yet. During the discussion of the subcommittee level, you were mentioning the fact that different faith organizations are going to be working around their neighborhoods where they're located. So can you touch base on that again? Because I think it's important to recognize perhaps, for lack of a better word, the importance of working around our neighborhoods and how they're going to impact those families around those churches. So can you go back to that specific point that we discussed at the subcommittee level?
Yeah, because we have 30 different churches from around the city, we are able to have, those are each located in different neighborhoods. So the idea is that each, group that is participating will focus on their neighborhood and be able to reach the people in that area, whether it's going door to door or working with a school that's nearby. In our case, like we're by the Partham School, so we would work with the Partham School. So the idea is that because we're spread out over the city, we would be able to impact a small neighborhood and focus on that neighborhood for each activity.
And the fact that you guys are totally different organizations, are those 30 churches or totally different organizations that are a part of the faith community?
So the two organizations are Amedal, which is the evangelical churches, and the Interfaith, which is more broad. It includes all different faiths. Those are the two organizations, and then the 30 is different churches, so congregations.
Different congregations?
Yep.
So a physical location?
Yep.
So I'm wondering, going back to the community-based organizations, the faith community, and the importance of that. There is a main focus overall of the whole program, right? So can you go back to that point, because I think that we kind of like, deviating from there. Can you go back in that point and specific, mention that and expand a little bit on that?
Yep. So the main focus of the program is violence prevention, and the kind of like what's behind that is the principles and practices of nonviolence that come way back from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who's also had a faith-based way of doing things. And so there are 6 principles and 6 practices. So it's basically teaching people how to resolve conflict nonviolently. And then there's different like kind of values behind that. And one of them that's kind of has to do with the faith part is that nonviolence asks us to avoid internal violence of the spirit. So it's not necessarily religious, but it's like talking about that it's internal. And so basically it's training, we'll have a training, and we're gonna have a retreat coming up in a couple weeks to teach all the leaders to go through these steps, and how if you have a conflict, whatever that may be, in your family or between friends or whatever the case, this is how you can solve that conflict. So that's the basis of the program.
So once you finish up with that retreat, if I hear you correct, you're saying that it will be they be able to solve conflict without interaction, perhaps just based on communication. Is that how? Is that the same message that they're going to take over to the different neighborhoods? And be able to have meeting, gather people, and express the importance of getting a result without a conflicting situation.
Yeah, and so that each church might do it in a different way. Like they might have an activity, like we talked about, like a sports event or a block party or an open mic to invite the families to come, but then during that activity, the idea is to educate people during that activity.
Maybe for another occasion, I would like to get a ratio, perhaps a percentage of youth being involved at those churches where they're going to be teaching, and they're going to be helping now other kids. So it is important to recognize that kids follow kids' directions.
Yeah.
And without having that in the plate, you're probably not going to be as successful as we expected. So eventually, once the program starts throughout the neighborhoods, that's something that is extremely important, that I personally believe, and a lot of us believe on that. Having kids, teaching kids, bring a lot of result.
Yeah.
So once you come over to provide us with a result of the different programs that you have held, so can you please also add that portion that is so important of how many kids were able to help out other kids?
Yeah. We can add that to our report.
And now going back to what I just mentioned, which is the reporting portion of it. I don't know, we haven't developed anything as of how we're gonna see those results. But I would like, within those retreats, to actually bring that up as well to the different organizations, so they are aware that they need to go back again to, not necessarily to us, but I mean to the city, and people gonna be held responsible for what we're doing here today, in a good way. Perhaps nobody's trying to do anything bad, but I mean, essentially, every time that is money related, it could be an issue. So sure that the reporting portion of the program is also implemented and as an essential piece of the program.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, counselors, I think that's it.
Hey, I have a comment. I don't have a question, but I do have a comments, and I have to take this opportunity to thank Padre Almono and Director Spanner for answer all the question, and that's the reason I have no question. But one more thing that I have to say is this, and I have to speak on my experience, I being part of Padre Almono Church, and I can tell you, just for you to have an idea, that Christmas dinner for kids and all the activity that has been placed for the youth and the kids. Esperanza Academy is the place that he used for all this activity. For him to be part of or being involved is telling me that I don't need to know, even though I know that we have all the churches come in front of us and pass an invitation for us to be part of it. And that's why we can get familiar with what they are planning on doing, what they are planning to continue doing for our kids. Sometimes we want to provide more, but due to the many parents' work, they don't have the time to dedicate it, not because they don't want, it's because, many things can in the way. But I encourage you to vote in favor for this. You are doing a big favor to all the families in Lawrence, and more than that, to yourself. Thank you, Father Almono, and thank you, Director Spanner, for being part of this. I know that has been taking longer, but it was worth it. Thank you very much.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We do have a very lengthy meeting. I have been promised by the Vice President that the next two matters will be quick.
Three items.
Just like that last one.
Three items.
So,
It's three.
be quick. I've got people here that I told me to be at 7.
I know. The first one is going to be 37622. That's Housing Committee. Yeah.
Well, we should take document 3. That's it.
That's good.
Yeah, the personal, but my card.
That's kind of lengthy.
So I can take another item until he gets ready. Okay. The first document is 35622.
Motion to take 35622 out of order was made by the Vice President, seconded by Councilor Infante. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Councilor Vice Chair of the Personnel Committee from District E. You have the floor.
Thank you, Council President. So the Personnel Committee met on Monday, November 7th, and the first item, 356-22, reappointment of Stephen Kafori to the Lawrence Housing Authority with the term ending on July 19th, 2027. It has been moved up to the full council with a favorable recommendation, and I make that as a formal motion.
Second.
Motion's been made by the Vice Chair of Personnel, seconded by the Vice President. Any discussion? Seeing none. I want to acknowledge the Council President, who's in the back lurking before we take this vote. We're ready to take this vote. Is there anything you want to say to the council? I think you're probably going to get this vote. No? Okay, smart political move. Okay? Thank you so much, Mr. Council President. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you very much, Mr. Kafori. Thank you.
Council President?
The
You're
next
welcome.
document is 37322. Take it out of order.
Motion to take 37322 out of order has been made and seconded by Councilor Infante. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Madam Vice Chair?
Thank you. Again, Personnel Committee met Monday, November 7th. Item 37322 is the confirmation of Assistant City of Clerk Jennifer Duran, brought to us by Personnel Director Gina LaGreca, and we're sending this up to the council with a favorable recommendation, and I make that as a formal motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and it's been properly seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
We do have Jennifer here.
So, Councilor Rodriguez, are you ready for that one?
What I would like to do at this point is that we did invite in. told them maybe about an hour ago that we could have.
Council President. Thank you. Going back, I know we just voted on this, but going back on the Assistant City Clerk, we do have Jennifer Duran here. I know to me she was a new face. To some she's not, but I would like for her to come up and just say a couple words. Nothing long, but
Please.
just to introduce herself.
Can I call you, can I? Hello, Mr. Rand, how are you?
Good, how are you guys?
People want to put a name with the face, and a lot of people have heard some really good things about you, and so why don't you just give us a very quick dissertation as to, I mean, you can say whatever you want to say right now, your goals, your aspirations, what is it that you want to accomplish in the clerk's office?
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity and thank you for having me here tonight. So thank you for the opportunity and thank you for having me here tonight. Our office was a mess. It's been through a lot of changes, and I'm just excited to continue working with our new clerk and moving the office forward and keep on serving all of our citizens as we have been doing since I've started.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm
Thank
just
you so
super
much.
nervous. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rand. We do appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. So as I was saying, that there was a desire by at least one and probably many others of the City Council who wish to learn more about the contract, about the trash capital management, waste management, who's represented here this evening. We have members from the mayor's office as well as the owner and operator of the new hauling company here among us. And so I'll turn the floor over to just to give us an update on the contract, what's happening, and this is we're using the charter here. This is an opportunity to get a communication from the mayor's office. We could ask some questions, of course, but Mr. Spanner, you have the floor.
Council members, the city exercised all due diligence to resolve the issue of trash collection in the city. As you all know, this was on everybody's mind in the last 8 weeks, and we immediately after we realized that that trash was not collected in the city, we immediately and silently started to contact and try to communicate with our surrounding communities, with trash collection and hauling companies to find out the demand and requirements that they had. It was a very difficult process, but as you know, it was an emergency. I'm not going to go right now into all details because we went through that during regular city council and also in the executive session. And the mayor and his team, when I say that is because there were different departments that were collaborating, which was the attorney's office, the mayor's office, and also DBW with different branches, with different divisions, including recycling. And we have determined that Capital Waste Services was the company that was most responsive to the needs and also to fulfill or do a good job in collecting trash in the city. As you already mentioned, Council President, I would like to take a moment to introduce the principal. One of the principal of the company is Mr. Joe Recupero. He's accompanied by his COO, his Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Eric Manning, and I would like to just give them the word as an introduction and to the community.
Good evening, Mr. President, City Councilors. My name is Joe Recupero. I am a partner of Capital Waste Services, and we're from Boston. We've been in business since 2002, which is 22 years. And, sorry, 20 years. And we've been servicing your neighbor in Haverhill since 2004. So we've been there quite a while. And we've also serviced other cities and towns, including the city of Boston, since 2002, where we started the trash business. We're very happy to be here in Lawrence. We have been on this project before, years ago, and we're not successful bidder. And for some reason, it just got by us that we never bid on it again. But being asked this time really made us feel important. Important because you chose us out of others who have failed you. We are a member of Local 25, so we are a union company. Our employees are treated fairly, obviously. And we're just so happy to be here, and we will service you, and we will do a good job, we promise. This is my operations manager, Eric Manning.
How you doing tonight, Council? I'm Eric Manning. I'm the operations manager. I'm the one that's chosen to the task of making sure there's a smooth transition into the city. I oversee basically all of the communities we service, but I'm also given the task every time we get a new city to go implement whatever they need done, make sure everything's smooth. There's not too many problems with the new transition from one company to the other. I've been with them for since 2005. I've been with Capital Waste. I worked for Waste Management prior. I've been doing it for 26 years now. So I started on the back of a truck, so that's where I got my roots, picking it up. I'm the person that if there's issues, most likely I'm gonna be the one you call, and if there is issues, I like to get the calls immediately because I like to get it resolved so that it doesn't happen again or it doesn't happen frequently. So I like to be proactive, not reactive with stuff. I'd rather get the call now, address it, and let it go away for good. So DPW has my number. Everybody has my number. I'm always available. Thank you. Thank you. We've been here since Saturday. We started on Saturday, picking up Friday's area, and we've been here Monday and Tuesday of this week. And, you know, a little bit of catch up, but it seems like the phones have calmed down in City Hall with complaints. So people are happy, and we're going to continue that service for you guys.
Sure, I recognize the Vice President first, then Council from District D.
So at this time, it's not going to be a question. I know that we are going to be a try, and I hope this is going to work for everyone. But since you are the manager operation, I want you to please, because I'm sure this is the question that you might going to get. Since you are the one who's going to be getting all the complaints, so if you can give your phone number to our secretary, not on the public, so that we can have it, and whenever we have some issue, we can report it to you. So that way you know which area you need to be covering. So again, I think it's too soon for me to start question. I know that you started 3-4 days ago. Thank you for what you have done. So what you have proved is what we are looking. I know that nothing is perfect. I know everything takes time, but thank you for coming over and work with us. Please, if you can, before you start getting all the questions, give it your number and your name, so that way we're not gonna lose this opportunity. You don't have to give it in public. You're just gonna give it to her.
One thing I also want to bring up too is that's been so far since we started the job. The mayor had asked us to try our best to hire as many people for our team for Lawrence from the city of Lawrence, and we've achieved a good amount. We've been getting more and more as we've it becomes a reality that we're actually gonna be the contractor. They're starting to, more people are coming. So that's been a blessing, because if you live here, you know where the streets are, you know, so we're not missing stuff that if we didn't have people that actually lived here, we wouldn't have a problem with missed streets and everything. So it's been very helpful.
Thank you. The councilor from Gale Street? So sure, so the clerk is taking that down, and if you want to follow up with anything, that's great, and that should be on the next full city council agenda for the first meeting in December. And
I would like to now ask a few questions, not necessarily looking at the contract because I haven't had the time to review it, but just in general with the previous experience that we had. So I represent the area that is the most affected area in Lawrence. And the reason is because the area that I represent is being picked up, the trash is being picked up on Friday. Overall, every time that you guys have any subsequential issues throughout the city, essentially every time they have a situation throughout the city that affects the schedule, the result ended up being that the area that I represent get delayed because by default he ended up on the last day of the week. So I wanted to know from the company perspective, what is the plan in terms of picking up trash late afternoon on Friday and Saturday morning, on Saturday during the day?
For us, we're a privately owned company, so we run a little bit different than a corporate company. A lot of the corporate companies, after a certain amount of time, they send their employees home, whether they're finished or not. We are a company that, if it's a snowstorm, if it's bad weather, if it's extra amount of trash, we stay out there till the last bag's picked up. If we have to work till 8 or 9 o'clock but get it done, we're gonna get it done. If there's a snowstorm, unless you tell us not to come, we're coming. We don't just cancel the day on you. You guys control our destiny. If you want us on the city streets and you say it's okay with the snowstorm, we're there. The only time we don't come is when you tell us to.
So essentially, it will be, we will see the company late afternoon on Friday and Saturday to pick up trash in case that you guys forgot on Friday, right?
The thing is I'm always available. We should not be picking up on Saturday unless it's a holiday. Unless it's a delay for a holiday, we will not be there Saturday because everything will be picked up Friday.
Essentially, when there is any particular issues and got delayed, lately we have seen that more often than common. But when there is a holiday, perhaps they fall on Monday schedule start on Tuesday, so Saturday sometimes may become an issue, and that's what I want to make sure that you guys are going to be there on Saturday picking up the trash, because that's one of the main situations, the main issues we face. So if the trash is not being picked up on that area on Saturday, that means that on Monday it will be picked up. The people put the trash out, regardless if it is a holiday or not, on Thursday afternoons. That means that the trash is out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday. So that's how it's become a situation that is not acceptable.
For some of your delays, it was company-based, not holiday-based or whatever. They decided to go to the next day or do it this day and do it. And in some cases with the yard waste, they didn't do it at all. For us, like I said, for the most part, if Friday's your day, it will be collected. The thing that's kept us in these communities for so long is we're service-based. You can call Joe, you can call me directly. You're not calling an 800 number. You can talk to us, and we're very proactive with stuff. If there's something that needs to get addressed and it's a Saturday, we'll call a guy in and tell him to go get it. You know, if it's something major, you know, if it's just 1 or 2 bags, but I have a pickup. You can see me sometimes. It's full with trash if it's a missed stop or something. So we're very proactive. We're customer based. We want you
No,
to be
I
happy.
have heard that already, that you guys do the type of business related to customer base, which is great. When it comes to, now that I hear you say proactive, there was some situations happening in a proactive way before, years ago, and that was that when you guys finish up a little earlier in some areas, you guys go ahead and go over the following day neighborhood to pick up that trash and advance those days. And by the time that Friday comes, the trash is being picked up a little faster because you guys advance those areas that were already, the trash was already out. So you guys are planning on doing the same
What I
thing?
see, I get exactly what you're talking about, but for us, it's not an issue. It would be more of an issue for you guys, because we actually, what he's getting at is if the delay, you know how some people have their, if it's a holiday, some people have their trash out and it's there. They put it out too soon. But sometimes what you face is more of a headache by us doing that. Because if we go to these 2 streets and these 2 streets see we're on these 2 streets here, why didn't you pick up my trash? But you picked up the street next. So it's a mixed, it's a pro and a con. We're prepared to pick up the day's work regardless of delays or anything. So not being able to get the trash collected is not the issue.
And I know that this is means and method, but I mean, I wanted to ask you that in regard to the truck and the truck amount that you guys are foreseen to be using in Lawrence, what is the amount of truck that you foreseen to use in the city of
We're
Lawrence?
going to be using rear load trucks with guys on the back. We have brand new trucks that are coming in that we bought that are brand new. So they'll be not going to be old used ones. We have brand new trucks coming into Lawrence. We have the 5 trash trucks, the 2 recycle trucks, and if it's a yard waste collection week, or we'll have a yard waste truck that specifically does yard waste.
So 8 total trucks?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Please let them know that when would you be fully structured here?
We have 2 new ones that have already come in that just got basically lettered, and we're getting the plates for them. There's 3 that are at Mac in Tewksbury that the body company has to go to Mac, and they do the connection to the body, and then it comes to us, and then we decal the whole truck, and then, you know, put the radio in it and whatever. So we got 3 there, and then a week later, yeah.
They'll all be in within 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks.
And we're lucky because we placed this order like 9 months ago, 10 months ago, just to get for our existing fleet. Because right now, to get equipment, it's a year away. So we actually, I don't know, maybe a blessing that everything happened like this. So we have brand new trucks to bring into Lawrence.
Well, essentially, the reason that I put this item on the agenda to actually be able to read through and be able to go with you through the contract, through a PowerPoint presentation, is because there is a lot of other things that we're not seeing, because we're just focusing on the trash issue that we faced in the last 2-3 months. But there is another thing that it come to my mind. By the way, I'm not talking from this contract perspective, just talking about based on my experience on that I'm sitting here. But there was an issue before with the trash barrels. So what is the plan and how people can get in touch with you and how much it's gonna cost to get a trash barrel in case that it broke and in case that need to be replaced or it's a new home or somebody bought a house and the old owner took trash out. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. A lot of the wording was moved from the existing contract into the other contract, and I think with the totes, I think it was that the resident would purchase it for $100, we would deliver it to them. We would deliver the cart to them. They could call in to us, because we're gonna actually, part of the contract is we're gonna go out and we're gonna buy like a couple hundred totes, and we're gonna store them at our yard for people that need them. If they call in, we'll be able to deliver them to, you know, they'll be the blue with the stamp that says Lawrence, because you don't want them to be blank, because then they'll disappear on you.
Yeah, all right. So there is the same type of deal in terms of the trash barrels.
Pretty much, yeah.
Let's open up for the other councilors to talk.
Okay, thank you, Counselor. Did you want us to speak, Counselor De La Cruz? Counselor from District A.
As you know, we have a recycling education that has been provided in the community. Will you continue with that education on recycling?
Yes, we work with the community, and I've met the recycle director for Lawrence, and I told her that we would work together to work on all the initiatives that she's trying to produce, and whatever we could do on the streets to help, we would be part of that, you know.
Then people have to buy the trash and the recycling bins as well?
What are the recycle bins?
The recycling.
We've been giving the recycling bins for free to the community through grants. When we receive a grant from the state, we buy those recycling bins and give it to the community. But we're thinking a little bit bigger now. We want to give bigger, you know, containers for recycling.
Okay.
Yeah.
My other question is, how long will be this contract?
5 years.
5 years. We have a problem when the mattress are not being picked up. 2 weeks ago, it was a big announcement that no trash company will pick up the mattress.
Yes.
That worries me a lot, because one thing that you see a lot on this street are the mattresses.
Yes, I did see that.
Have you spoken to see what's going to happen with that?
I spoke to the recycle coordinator. She had already looked into it, because it's as of November 1st, mattresses are no longer allowed to go into the regular trash trucks. They have to be collected separately and recycled. What she actually had already, there's companies that do it. We do it, but we charge a certain price like every other company to do them, collect them. We bring them to a recycle place. They charge us to take the mattress, so there's a disposal fee for it. But I think she was working with a company to take care of the mattresses. So their responsibility would be to, like, if I was a homeowner, I'd call in the mattress to this company, and then they would come and schedule a collection for the mattress. But yes, I have seen a lot of mattresses, so I don't know if that has gotten into place yet.
I know that we used to have that phone number, and the person will tell you the day to put the mattress outside, and from 7 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they were supposed to pick up. Now, if we don't have those people, we're going to see a lot of mattresses.
Yes, I agree with you on that. Again, that's something.
So again, the mattresses are not allowed to go in with the trash. So our residents now, they will have to call a number that we will provide them. Actually, our recycling coordinator is working with 2 different companies to get a better price for our community. And we will provide the information to the public. So, but we needed to have a company with us in place to start working those agreements. But we're gonna produce a lot of information, and we're gonna send it out to the public to let our residents know where to call and how they can get rid of the mattresses. But we are providing that support until our residents, are familiar with the process. We're gonna allow, we're gonna pick up those mattresses, and you're gonna see those mattresses, gone from the curbside.
Thank you.
Counselor from Mount Vernon?
Thank you. Quick question on the mattress topic. Can you, Director, can you explain to us why we haven't received, why the city hasn't put out any information on this? I mean, we knew that this new law was going to be in effect November 1st. We're 15 days behind. That's a pretty significant amount of days.
Yeah, Councilors, we had a crisis with the trash. We all know that we had a very difficult time, and receiving 100 calls a day is not funny. I don't want to go through that process again, and I would like to let the representative of Capital that are here tonight that we took a decision and we fired Republic, and we're not gonna think twice to fire Capital if they do not do their job. And they here in front of us, and they know that we are gonna take decisions like that if they fail to our community. So right now, we had to focus on that issue with the mattresses. But I can tell you, I saw changes the first day, and that makes me excited about it, because it was not funny to have a lot of people saying that we were not doing anything. And look at this now, that will tell you that we were working on it, and we brought that solution in front of you, and you helped us to move on with that. And the mayor's office was focused on get this issue solved, and now we're gonna move on with other issues that we all know that we have.
Sorry. I think, did you have anything to add? I don't know.
Yeah, just on behalf of the mayor, he asked me to thank all of you as well. This process has been exhausting, but we did bring a solution to the table. And on behalf of the mayor, would like to thank all of you that work with him, that have worked with your constituents in maintaining a positive attitude despite the situation. Sometimes you have, people want to play politics with this, but at least from your end, this was gracefully done, and thank you so much.
Much, we do appreciate. Okay, thank you so much, Mayor's office, and the owners of Capital. We do appreciate it, and thank you for the contact information. Hopefully, we have very little need to contact you. So that's our hope, I think. So that's a good thing. So we're gonna move on with the agenda. Thank you. We're gonna move on with the agenda. I've been asked if we could take document 37622 out of order. Is there a motion? Motion made by Councilor Selena Reyes. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. I'm looking at the chair of the Housing Committee.
Council President, we discussed this item at the Housing Committee and voted in favor of sending up to the full council, actually to order a public hearing. That's what I was looking at it now, and that for an easement, we need a public hearing, right?
Yeah, I think we can handle it right here, yeah, so, correct. Correct, we're not changing an ordinance, and we're not transferring property to the city.
You got it.
That's right, yep.
All right, so there's no need for this. So did you want to make a motion at this point to approve?
I would like
or
to
something?
make a motion to accept accept this item. Well, we send it up to the full council with a fair recommendation. I would like to make a motion to accept the variance and easement regard to the property located on part of the Merrimack project, Merrimack Walk, River Walk project.
So there it is. There's your motion, essentially to approve the document. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Infante. Discussion.
Council President, it is important for the record to know that they have present a document spelling out the easement. At the Housing Committee, they present the plans of what that easement means. It is also important to say that the access that we are actually getting, it's an access that the city of Lawrence is getting to the Merrimack River Park and the Riverwalk project. Different street of that project are going to be now, we're going to be able to access to those as part of a grant received to that company from the state. And under that grant, an access easement was promised, and that's what we're delivering today. Did I cover everything?
You got it.
Thank you.
All right, so there's a motion to approve. Any further discussion on the motion to approve? Seeing that there's no further comment, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night. All right, let's get down to some of the other bigger nuts on our agenda. In no particular order, I'm just going to go to the first one. If there's no objection, I'm going to take the public hearing number 33822 out of order. That's water and sewer rate adjustment. If there's no objection, we'll take that one up right now. Clerk, would you please read the public hearing notice for 33822 water and sewer rate adjustment?
With regard to document number 338-22, the public notice was given that the Lawrence City Council will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, November 15th at 7 p.m. at a public meeting of the Lawrence City Council in the City Council Chambers, 200 Common Street, Lawrence, Mass. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting will be hybrid, allowing participation both in person in the council chambers and remotely via Zoom. To receive access codes for the remote participation, contact the city clerk at 978-620-3230 prior to the meeting. The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed establishment of the water rate assessment for water use and the proposed establishment of the sewer rate assessment in accordance with the schedule of water and sewer rates as stated below, to be effective in accordance with said schedule in compliance with Mass General Law, Chapter 275, Section 15 of the Acts of 1989 and other applicable state and federal laws. To the extent that there exists any ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only.
The public hearing is now open. Mr. Mejia, do you wish to speak on this matter? Okay. Is there anybody who wishes to speak on this matter? Please come forward and please give your name and address for the record.
My name is Sadie Camilo Perdomo, and I live on 18 Hamilton Street in Lawrence. I am here to speak in favor of the rate for the water and sewer. I believe that this will be a good thing for the city because it will help with the piping and fixing, and it will also, that is something that if it doesn't get fixed, it will cause maybe the water to be contaminated. So I speak in favor of it, and I believe that the water rate for the city of Lawrence is at a low rate compared to other cities around. And I have a single family, and I pay like maybe 70 to 60 at times. So, and we are a family of 4. So I believe it is a good thing for the city and for us to be able to maintain our pipes in good standing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. I'm looking for a motion from the council.
Motion to approve?
Motion made by the Vice President, seconded by Councilor Anna Levy. Discussion? I see Councilor from District E's hand up first, and then I heard Councilor from District D. Go ahead, Councilor.
Rodriguez can go first. I trust me on this. You'll hear why later after.
So, Councilor from District E withdraws her interest to speak, and Councilor Rodriguez, you have the floor.
Council President, I would like to have this for the record. The first year, 2023, we're going to increase the water rate according to this proposal by 14%, 7% in the first quarter, and then 7% on the end. And then on the second year of this increasement, which will be in 2024, it will be a 6% increasement with the rate increasing by 3% annually. After that, it will be a 3% increase, right? 2025, 26, 27, 28, right?
Currently, it's going to remain flat, so once that July 1st, 24 increase is done, we don't have it going forward for an increase. We actually we put on hold the water projects only for that time frame. After this, we would immediately go back to the table and look at other ways to generate revenue for the department. Like in the future, that doesn't include rates. We don't want to increase them again, obviously, if we don't have to, but some of the other fees and charges haven't been updated in, 14, 15 years. Just for instance, to tie into the water system, we're charging $200 per inch diameter. I know surrounding towns charge around $500. So basically, a ratepayer that's paid for a decade gets to tap into our water system for a reduced price from 15 years ago. Now that we've invested $100 million, we need to increase that fee.
All right, so I just want to be clear, just make sure that people understand what we're increasing. So 2023, what is going to be the increasement?
For 2023, we're going to go up to 7%. So the water rate is $332 per 100 cubic feet and $358 per 100 cubic feet for the sewer.
So that's the first part, right? And the second part of 2023 will be another 7%, right?
Correct.
So in the 2023, we're going to increase the water rate by 14%.
Correct.
Okay. I want to make sure. In 2024, we're increasing the rate by 6%, which is going to be two set of 3% each, right?
Correct.
Okay. And after that, on 2025, 6, 7, and 28, we're going to increase the water.
We projected it with no future increases through 28.
Okay. After 28 is no future increasement until 28. From 24 to 28, there's going to be 3%, 3%, 3%, and 3%, right?
No.
Clarify from that, please.
Yep, so basically, do you have the slideshow for? Go right to that slide here. I think it's the last one. The models are projected out through 28.
So that's
Yes.
revenue and expenses.
Yeah, so after July, the 24 increase, then it remains flat. So there's no 333 through 28.
So let's go back. 2023, 14%. 2024, 6%.
Correct.
And that will be all
Correct.
until later on when we need. if we
That's
have to.
correct.
All right. Okay, gotcha. So just to clarify the point, 2023, we're increasing the rate by 14%, In 2024, we're increasing the rate by 6%. After 2024, there is going to be no increase on the water rate and the sewer.
That's the way we projected it, so what, we still have to do work, there will be, we projected it with no increases, but we have to stop some of the water work. So we can't continue at the, you know, the level that we're doing the work now.
Okay, so in 2024, when we actually project, on 2025, we're projecting no increasements on the water and sewer rate, but that also brings consequences in terms of the work that need to be done for maintaining the actual system. And we're now projecting not much work to be done on those days that water increasement is not happening, correct?
So
If
we're
I hear you correct?
So we're gonna do, you know, top priority jobs are gonna continue, so we're gonna do about, we projected $3 million per year for the sewer. That's mandated by the DEP, so we have to continue those things. We have 600,000 in SES per year, that's the camera investigations. We have about 9% of the system to camera, that's part of the dissent decree that we fell under in 2015. So the work will continue, it's just not gonna be at the level that it was, and we're just gonna have to prioritize. It's mostly gonna be sewer work that's gonna be done in that time frame.
Part of the work, it's been done in-house.
Correct.
As you were in charge of that operation before, that's something that we have talked, that you guys gonna trying to increase, doing more?
Yeah, absolutely. So where any emergency job, we're gonna look into it, make sure if we have the capability to do it in-house, we're gonna maintain it in-house. Saves a ton of money, so.
For the purpose of the discussion today, which we actually increasing the rate of the water, that haven't happened, that haven't happened since 2009. So the city of Lawrence haven't seen an increasement since 2009.
Correct.
And today we're facing a significant increase of 14% for 2023 and 6% on 2024.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why is because COVID had hit. We were supposed to increase this few years back. In 2019, we had went for a $26 million bond authorization through the council, and hope, you know, and the plan was to increase the rates, and then with COVID, everything got pushed to the side. So now here we are, and we need this to get done tonight, so.
All right, Council President, I have no more questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. The council from District A.
I have a question.
Yeah, so it's all taken into account. That's when we do the sewer investigations. The problem with the flooding is that most of our system is a combined system. When we do rehabilitate the sewer system, we can increase the capacity to some level, but, you know, in terms of the overall flooding, it has to be completely separated to avoid it at, you know, on that level. So we do look into separation when it's feasible. It's just very expensive, but there are projects in the future that I know Methuen on the border in Tenney Street area will be doing some separation in that area, so.
We have people that have moved out of the city because the water passed through the living room, and they have to leave the house. But Prosper Street has a huge problem of water on the sewer. Are you planning to work by section, or are you planning to work on where you think the needs is faster? Or when you see the water rain coming down and those sewers affecting people's houses?
Yeah, so based on the camera investigations, they go by the top priority. So if sewer is in danger of imminent collapse, we have to address that first, you know, over other things, so there's priorities. The system dates back to, you know, the late 1800s, so a lot of it was deteriorating. So it's just about priority, based on you know, we don't want sewers to collapse, and it just creates, it's more expensive that way, so if we don't go in and rehabilitate it before it gets to that point, it costs us a lot more money if it's an emergency, so.
As you might know, we just fixed most of the roads in the city. Then when you're making a hole, you're gonna make sure that you're gonna close the back and all of that, right?
Correct. I believe a lot of the work was combined with the gas emergency and stuff, so we had put water mains in, we had done the sewer work before they had paved. So in some instances, it would only be for an emergency purpose. But yeah, we do have procedures, and if that's the case, if we do have to open up a road, the trench, normally we wait a season to pave it, we let the trench settle, because if we go in and pave it, and then we have to redo it, so.
Thank you.
Councilor Levy?
Thank you, Mr. President. I've been thinking, so how do you come out with the percent of the increase on the water and sewer?
So the past 9 years, we've had a model that Woodard and Curran has run with us. So it's based off the retained earnings that we have in the bank every year. So as we were taking these bond authorizations to do the work, you know, the payments are starting to come due. We don't have that money in the budget, in the bank now to pay these loans. So over time, because we had a lot of cash in the banks in 2017, we had about $19 million. That was built up from, you know, the meter replacement project. We switched out some pumps that were more efficient, and we did the solar panels. So we had the cash, but slowly over the years, since we didn't increase the rates, they stayed flat, we were taking $3 million per year to pay these loans. So that's how it started to deplete. Now we're at zero, you know, close to the end, and we really need to get them up. So we came up with this just each year. They did the model. They redo it every year.
So this year, or every year, they took a model, so from where? From?
So they get the certified retained earnings from Mark Iannello.
Please.
I can explain that.
Sure.
Good evening, Council. I think what you're asking is you know, how did we come up with the rates? And basically, as Billy was explaining, we had from 2011 to present, we've issued approximately over $100 million worth of bonds, and those bonds have to be repaid. So they have been, the Water Sewer Division has been paying its own principal and interest payments on those bonds, but it increases each year because as we sold those bonds over the years, pardon me, we sold 25 million and we sold 20 million and so on. So those debt service payments have been increasing each year. So as Bill was explaining, we were anticipating to come down here a few years ago for a rate increase, but because of COVID and other factors, we never came down. So the issue today is that the city has issued these bonds and they have to be repaid. We would like the water sewer ratepayers to pay it, but if we don't have a rate increase by water sewer, then the taxpayers will have to pay for it. So we'll be adding that to the general tax bills because it's an obligation of the city of Lawrence and we have to pay it, whether it's the taxpayers or the ratepayers. We would prefer the ratepayers to pay the cost of all the water sewer work that's being done, so that's why the rate increase is being requested tonight. And the way they came up with the rate increase was factoring in excuse me, our existing debt service, but the debt service increases over the next few years as these projects are starting to be completed and we're issuing bonds, or we're selling the bonds. So we have to repay those loan payments, and that's basically what the model does. Is here's the operating budget of the water sewer. They haven't doubled their personnel or anything like that. The only cost that's been increasing in their budget has been, besides some costs of water, chemicals, and so forth, has been the debt service. It was a few $1 million. Now it's $4 million, and it's $7 million. So since 2000, I have it in front of me. In 2019, we've had a planned use of retained earnings. When we issued the debt, we said, all right, we're going to plan on using some of the retained earnings to to pay for some of the debt service, but eventually we're gonna need a rate increase because these are 30-year bonds. So just as a reminder to the council, in 2018, we had the water department had to take $2.2 million out of retained earnings to balance their 2019 budget. That was the first year we used retained earnings to balance their 19 budget. And then in FY20, they had to use another $2.6 million to balance that budget, again, because of the debt service. 2021, it increased to $3.5 million because the debt service is rising. And then in FY22, they had to borrow, use $4 million of retained earnings to balance their operating budget without a rate increase. And in the 23 budget that we just passed, there was another $4.6 million that had to be taken out of retained earnings to balance their FY23 budget. So now the retained earnings is down to only $114,000, so we busted our retained earnings, and so that's why the rate increase is needed to balance this FY23 year out, and then we'll also, hopefully the rate increase, if approved tonight, we'll be able to balance our FY24 budget without the taxpayers having to bail out the water sewer department. So I hope that answers your question.
So if we right now have $40 million in the retaining?
We have 114,000. We had 19 million at one point, and we're down to 100,000.
So in how much money we really need to have on that account?
And then we'd like to, so the forecast is hopefully is to build up the retained earnings a little bit. It would be helpful if I think good financial practice if the water department get their retained earnings back up to $4 to $6 million in that range. That would be a healthy retained earnings for them. So that would be, I think that's what the model is trying to get to in a few years. It'll take a few years to get there. Right now, we're just trying to have a rate increase to at least pay the operating expenses and start to, depending on how the operations run. As Bill was just mentioning, if we have something happens in the sewer system, we have an emergency, we're going to have to fix it. We can't leave it, and then we obviously would use our retained earnings for that as we have in the past. But if things are stay in a normal range, we'll hopefully have some retained earnings in a few years that'll be adequate to support any of these emergencies without having to borrow.
So a couple of days ago, I saw an ad that says your name is going to be in a list if you haven't paid your water bill. How much money have we have been recuperated from that at this point?
About roughly $240,000. So we had about $1.2 million that was outstanding for fiscal year '22. So that's all projected in the model as well. So we're assuming the same amount. So it's very conservative. So that's why the numbers are still pretty low. So everything's based on that. So we don't want to just say, oh, everybody's going to pay their water bill and then have them not pay it. And, so this is all conservative in the model. We account for that.
So what happened with those people that hasn't been paid by the end of the year?
They will be liened on their property, but that's the law. So that's what the city has done for previously. I know Mark's familiar with that.
Yeah, there's two methods to collect the water bills. The first is we send them a bill, hopefully they pay. If they don't pay, we send them another bill. And then if they don't pay that, there's another notice. There's a shut-off program that the water department can run. That's obviously the next thing that we'll do. We'll shut your water off. And if we don't do that and they still don't pay, then we would actually place a lien, or a tax lien on their property. So we'd add it to their next tax bill, and we would lien the property so that if the house were to change hands, we would get repaid from the proceeds of the sale.
So who decided, in that percent that is going to be increased, who decided on this?
On the increase, the 14%, the model to account for, the operating budget of the water sewer division, plus this debt service increase because of this $100 million worth of work. So they've projected the revenues of the water sewers $16 to $18 million a year, something like that. So they've projected, well, we need a 14% increase to generate additional income to pay for the operating expenses of the water sewer, which are pretty much remaining constant. There's no large increases in their operating budget other than the debt service line item. I don't have the number in front of me, but as I mentioned, we subsidize the operating budget primarily for debt service, about $2.2 million, and now the last couple of years, we had to subsidize almost $4.7 million, 4.6 in last year's budget. So it's a big, that's the budget buster, is the debt service on all the projects that we've done. You know, it's been money well spent, because when I first arrived here, fire department would go to a fire hydrant, no water would come out. So a lot of that stuff has been fixed. And then there's a lot of work that the EPA is requiring us to do on the sewer side, as you just mentioned, flooding and so forth. Those things have to be taken care of. And so the water department's the city's been very responsible and responsive to EPA. We issued $106 million worth of debt in the 10 years that I've been here. That's a tremendous amount of work. And unfortunately, or fortunately for the city, we haven't had a rate increase since 2009, and the water department has not been, they've been very conservative with their budgeting techniques, and we've been building up that retained earnings so that we could pay for a lot of this work out of retained earnings, but a rate increase from 2009 to it's 2022. That's a lot of years without a rate increase, and we did all this work. So it's to the city's credit that we're in such great shape that we're only requiring a rate increase now.
Thank you.
Counselor from Mount Vernon.
Thank you. If this was already said, my apologies. Can you, Commissioner, explain why we are increasing the rates twice in 1 year instead of just doing it once at once?
Yeah, sure. So, it's, at this point, we need to get it done right away, but we do that normally so it doesn't shock the customers, like to reduce the rate shock, so you don't want to get, a huge bill right away. It's going to slowly increase over time. It's a statistic that it works, and it's better for the ratepayer. You're welcome.
Any other counselors? Counselor from District D.
Couple of things. So I just hear Mike and Caffo to talk about the bonds. So when was the first bond that we took for these projects? 2019, you mentioned?
In 2000, I arrived here in 2011, and I believe shortly after I arrived was the first borrowing that we approved for the water sewer. I think it was a $16 or $18 million project to deal with that fire hydrant issue that I just mentioned. And that was the first project, I think, that the water sewer did. And then the next project was to change out the meters and get them automatically read. So there was, I don't have all of the bond authorizations, but I think in 2011 or 12 there was at least 16 or 18 million. Then a couple years later was another 26 million. A year or so later was another 26 million and 22 million. And from 2011 to present, I think we've issued, this council and your predecessors have approved approximately 106 million, I think it was, in total, all those bond authorizations just for water sewer work.
Yeah. Do you mind putting a list together so we can see the start date, end date, and when are we projecting to finish?
Yeah,
with
the bond authorizations, I'm sure I have I can delineate them for you, and how much of the bonds that were issued, if that helps.
Definitely. Another thing, going back to your operation, every time that I have the opportunity to talk about the water and sewer department, I talk about the main issue that is in regard to the clients and to the customers, and that's the customer service. So, as a new person in charge of the department, have you focused on actually providing with a great customer service to the clients in terms of picking up the phone and other stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that part of your plan?
Yeah, so starts in my office, so we get the calls, and everybody's responsible to answer the phones, which they've been doing a great job at, and then we send, if there's a problem or a complaint and it's an emergency, we send somebody out, they're normally there within a half an hour.
So essentially, the reason that I'm bringing it up is because there was two departments in the city of Lawrence that were competing about not picking up the phone, and the water department was one. And I need to call it out, because that's every time I have an opportunity to do so, to improve that issue that is not right, I'll do so. So now, I don't know if you have from the top of your head, there is a situation when it comes to taxes and the water bill, and there is a last day perhaps that people have to pay the last quarter bill, and that's about to happen, or it already happened. Do you know those from the top of your head?
So I talked with Alex, the chief assessor, so he wanted to have the date be December 1st, that gives him more time. So we were gonna mail, you know, we've went to social media with the notices, we went door to door with notices. I mean, it's, even if the property gets liened, we don't necessarily get the money right away because it just sits on the property. So it really doesn't benefit us right away. So we don't wanna lien properties, that's why we're sending these notices, so they can pay it and not have to go through that process. 'Cause, you know, I
So
personally
right
don't
now,
wanna go through.
as we speak, December 1st is the threshold, the deadline in terms of somebody paying the last quarter water and sewer bill, and that way they don't get the lien.
Correct.
So do you have any type of social media campaign or something that we can share with us, so we can share with the people? And the reason that I'm being so interested in that is because a lot of people, when they get leaned because of the water and sewer issue, next year they get a tax increasement, and they right away look at the city and the administration and start saying, look, my taxes went up for no reason, and that was because they probably didn't pay the water and sewer bill on time, and then that get transferred to their taxes, and that's a whole nother set of issues that everybody's facing without knowing that there is a system that you need to pay the water and sewer. Otherwise, you're gonna get taxes. So do you guys have that, like a social media campaign or information that you can share with us, so we can share with the public and actually, clarify that situation?
Sure, yeah, so on top of the letters that we sent to individual past due accounts, we also sent a generalized letter, just an informational letter stating that if you do owe money to get it in, we put that out on, I think, 3 or 4 newspapers. I know Rumbo, Eagle Tribune, that was through the mayor's office. Then they also posted it on Facebook for the city.
All right, thank you for that issue. Another issue that another issue that I want to bring up to you now that I have you here. So, in terms of fraudulent situations happening, I know that there was a lot of people misleading the signals for the readings. We still have that issue, a significant issue in the city of Lawrence on that end.
We have, roughly, I checked it a couple of days ago, it was like 43 accounts. So we've been going to try to get access to those properties to make sure. But I mean, if they do tamper with the meter, we can still estimate them based on previous reads that we have from years ago. So, they're still gonna end up paying. But
Yeah.
they get a tamper fee if they do get caught. There's like a little diode that the people put there to block the magnet. So if we capture that with a photo. We have it in the system that's what alerted us to it, and then they will get that charge on their bill.
Okay, so when it comes to another thing that I brought up because of that issue, it was that you guys are probably sending an estimated invoice to clients, and people most likely don't know that that's the estimated because they have the E on it. And one of the things that I brought up to other administrations was to have that like landmark on the bill saying that this bill is estimated, not accurate, please call. So that's something that you guys are planning on improving?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea. We could have it on the bill. I know we have 388 meters that are currently not reading. That's primarily due to the batteries that are in the transmitting unit that are in the homes. So we're in the process of getting to those homes because they're under warranty. So we just have to troubleshoot it, verify whether it's the device itself or the meter, and then we will swap those out and we get a credit for them to get back. So we're slowly working. There was 388 roughly of those in the city, so we'll definitely be on top of those. I plan to get it down to 0. I mean, we're gonna have problems here and there because the batteries do die, but we're gonna stay on top of it with the new software. We're also gonna implement, I'm having the company come that we already pay, Census, and we will have, as long as it's feasible, from a money standpoint, that we have access for people to sign up so they can have their own portal, and then they can set alerts. If they go on vacation or something, they can get an email that says, hey, you have a high usage, or whatever parameters they want to set in their own account, and they can get emails to alert them for that.
How many accounts do you currently have that are on with leakages issues?
On what issues?
Leakage?
Leaks, for high usage. So we haven't, currently, we don't track them. I mean, that's what the email system would do. So we would send those out. You know, there's not very many. There is an alert system in there. It's not like significant. Some people have high peaks. It all depends. But what it will do is, some people are using the water. It's a 3-family, but that'll just pick up it's higher than normal. So that email system would send them an email to let them know that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilor Infante, and then we probably should wrap this up for Councilor Infante.
Thank you. I have 2 things. One is to add to the comment that my colleague said about the customer service. I do want to share quickly with you, with all of you, a company in District E had a water main break a few weeks ago, and one of the executive leadership members actually texted me at my personal cell phone to say the following, and I think you're going to be very appreciative of this. He said, the response time to fix the water main was fantastic, would not have been as fast in other cities we operate. So they were definitely appreciative of your work, the timeliness, the time, and I'm also appreciative because this is a happy constituent, so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yep. Secondly, Commissioner, how much money
In tax title?
Leaned? So, I mean, it's hard to project it. I believe it'll be somewhere around, you know, 700,000 to 800,000, depending on, you know, who comes in to pay. We're gonna send out another notice with the water bills as well, so hopefully that can get some more money in. So somewhere around that, like within a couple of weeks, we brought in like $250,000, so it definitely works.
If there's no further discussion, I'll call the question and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilor Levy.
Yes.
Councilor Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Councilor Payano, absent. Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario.
No.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Infante.
Yes.
Vice President Estela Reyes.
Yes.
Council President LaPlante.
Yes, the motion carries. Thank you for all your work on this.
Thank you, councilors, for your time.
If there's no objection, we're at 9:46, we're running up against 10 o'clock. If there's no objection, we're going to go to the next public hearing, which is the tax classification item.
That would be
358.
document number, and thank you very much,
358.
35822. If there's no objection, I'll ask the clerk to please read the public hearing notice for 35822.
In accordance with Chapter 40, Section 56, and other applicable provisions of Massachusetts general laws, notice is hereby given that the Lawrence City Council has scheduled a public hearing for Tuesday, November 15th, 2022, at 7 p.m. regarding real estate tax classification. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, in accordance with the recently revised City Council Rule 2, this meeting will be hybrid, allowing participation both in person and in the City Council chambers, and remotely to accommodate all potential participants with health considerations that prevent them from participating in person. To receive access codes for remote participation, please contact the city clerk at 978-620-3230. The meeting may be viewed on Facebook and YouTube. The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed approve of tax split rate, which shifts the tax burden between residential and open space properties and commercial, industrial, and personal property classes for FY 2023 in order to establish the residential and commercial tax rate for the city of Lawrence, Massachusetts. Interested taxpayers are encouraged to present information. Written comments and information may be submitted on this matter. Please forward any written comments to the office of the city clerk, 200 Common Street, room 107, Lawrence, Mass. 01840, on or before 4:30 p.m., Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. Persons wishing to be heard on this matter shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Looking for a motion, councilors. So let's do this. We're going to be looking for a motion.
Motion to
We should
approve.
at least start off with a factor,
I got you.
a job factor. So if
Yeah.
you've got a
So,
factor, we'll start off
I would
with
like
that.
to make a motion to adopt the factor of 175.
There's a motion to adopt
Second.
factor 175, that should be in your packet. It's been properly seconded. Is there a discussion? And we could also have a presentation at this point, but now we can go ahead with that. Do we want a presentation? Does the councilors want to get like
By all means, go ahead.
an overview of it? Why don't we have a brief, Mr.
Absolutely.
The assessor, chief assessor, if you just give us a brief overview, highlight the top elements.
Absolutely. Thank you, councilors. Alexi Vega, Chief Assessor for the City of Lawrence. Proud to say 14 Cornish Road, Lawrence, Massachusetts. Before I begin, I'd like to commend the entire staff of the Assessor's Office for their dedication, hard work, professionalism. You should be recognized, and it's greatly appreciated. I do appreciate you every day, and my staff is here this evening. We have Assessor Brita Dow, Assessor Maria Halloran, and Principal Clerk Vieira Cardera, and our real estate consultants, RRC, who are constantly out in the field doing the work of measuring and listing all properties in the city. So this evening, we're here this evening to request that the council vote on a factor, which you just did, which is great. In order for us to be here this evening, the DOR had to certify our values, and they did that about 2 weeks ago, and I'm proud to say that it has set record highs. Tonight, again, we're here to vote on a factor which will determine a split rate in the city of Lawrence, and it has been a split rate since 1982. So the purpose of the hearing is to move the tax factor and classification and tax rate forward to the DOR for certification. We have plenty of time. This is the earliest we've been down to the council to present to you, which is a great thing. It's something that we strive for. And as you mentioned, the highest tax factor that you can adopt this evening is 1.75. Adopting a factor does not raise the levy amount that you voted on in June. So we're just going to allocate the tax burden from the residential side to the commercial, industrial, and personal property taxpayers. In order to determine the value for FY23, the DOR requires that we utilize every sale that transferred in calendar year 2021. In doing so, we determined that the new value for the city of Lawrence is $6.8 billion. This is an increase of 16.9% over last year's $5.8 billion. It's no sticker shock that your property is worth more, and a breakdown per class of major properties in the city of Lawrence are as follows. Residential saw an 18.7% increase in value. Commercial, 7.8, industrial, 17.6, and personal property, 3.7. The average single-family home in the city of Lawrence, which is our largest group of properties, is up to $375,300, which is 17.6% above last year's record high of $319,000. Glad to say that if you own property in the city of Lawrence, you're doing well for yourself, and it's a great thing to see. This slide here, I do have a pointer, but I know we want to do this quickly. It's just going to be historical data of the entire city's value for all 3 years. So highlighting every residential property per the last 3 years. And you can see the percent difference and increases per year by each class. So we break down the major classes of property: residential, commercial, industrial, personal property, and the total tax valuation for the city of Lawrence over the last 3 years has increased significantly. And as you can note on the bottom right-hand side, the levy amount, the amount of taxes that we raise per year, has increased slightly. And I say slightly is because you have not raised to the fullest capacity each year, so you've been trimming your budget, which is a wonderful thing, and it's something that this administration strived for, and not increasing the levy amount to its fullest capacity, which you did not use Proposition 2.5 or the entire new growth. The DOR certified a new growth last week, and when we budgeted in June, it was $1.4 million. We estimated roughly $1.4 million. That's what you voted the budget on. The DOR certified it at 1.7, and I spoke to our CAFO, Mark Anello, and we decided not to raise the additional monies in the recap, which is a wonderful thing because that saves everyone tax dollars. And that proves that your budget is strong, your local receipts are meeting expectations, so it's a blessing to see as a property owner here in the city of Lawrence. This is our highlight this year. You know, honestly, I want to make sure I get the staff involved, so I'd like to bring up Brita to present you the levy amount, and a couple more slides to get the group involved. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex. Good evening, councilors. Thank you. Brita Dove, 1256 Osgood Street in North Andover. Just to continue with Alex's definition here, again, the levy was what the amount is raised for taxes for the city, which was determined with the budget. Oh. There you go. Sorry. Thank you. The state allows us to use Proposition 2.5, which adds an additional 2.5% to the levy limit. This does not apply to a single individual's tax bill. It is for the levy limit. We're also allowed the addition of new growth, which consists of conversions exempt to taxable properties, new personal property accounts, new construction. For FY23, we were certified at $1.77 million. Here's a brief overview of the comparison of the new growth that we've had over the past 10 years. You notice that these last few years, this was rather high. The 20 and the 21, that was basically because of the gas explosion. We're probably more where we usually are here at the 1.77. Again, that was certified by the state last month. This is a single tax rate. The city of Lawrence uses a split, but just to give you an idea of how it would work if we had a single tax rate, that would encompass both residential and commercial. It's more of a detriment to the single family if we were using a single tax rate. Therefore, we use a split rate for the city. This is a historical breakdown of the factor that we've been using. So for the last few years, you can see we've used a factor of 175. The factor of 175 is without a doubt the most favorable for the residential taxpayer in the city. You can see down here, our last one here projected, if at the 175, we're coming with tax rate of $10.12 for the residential, which has been the lowest for many, many years in the city. So again, the 175 for the taxpayer single family is the most prudent. This is the breakdown pretty much of a snapshot of how we come up with the levy and the levy limit. You taking the last year's levy limit. You're adding the new growth, Proposition 2.5. So we could be using, as Alex had mentioned, we could be using the 93 million. However, we're only going to use the 82 million for our levy. Our excess capacity for fiscal year 23 is a little over $11 million, which is fantastic. The remainder of the slide show, I'm going to hand it over to Maria, and thank you very much for your time.
Mr. President, motion to pass them.
Second.
Motion to go past then by Councilor Levy, seconded by the Vice President. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Good evening, Maria Halloran, 24 Thomas Road, Lawrence. Which one is the arrow? Okay, just following up on Chief Assessor Vega and Brita. This sheet is showing you from 2005 up to current fiscal year, an average how much will be for a single family home. Hold on just a second. The average value of the single family home for fiscal year 2023 it's around $375,300. If council decides to choose the tax rate factor of 175, the average tax bill for a single home will be $3,798. So which would be the last line there. You get it? Okay. And that will be an increase of $149 per home between last year's tax bill and this year. The following sheet shows you the different factors for residential. This is the first one for 170. As you can see, for residential on a single family, it'll be an increase of $197. With the single tax rate average will be $3,846.83. And also you see how much will be for the condominiums. And that will be an increase of $16. For two family, $480. And three family, $422. A decrease, you'll see a decrease in the commercial of $709. And an increase in industrial for $202. Then you'll see all the factors for 171, 172, 73, and moving along to 175, which you have proved tonight. Close to getting there, proposing, but it's giving you an idea. As you can see here, which is a very good factor for us so far. You'll see an increase on a single home for $149, condominiums of a decrease of $10, which is they'll get a tax break. Two family of $414, a three family they'll see an increase of $345, commercial a decrease of $350, and industrial of an increase of $1,235. This is one of the tax factor that will be mostly being chosen by city council members over the last few years and many years back, because it does give a little bit of tax break on the single family. And moving along, as you can see here,
This is, gives you a comparison between the single-family and commercial tax bill for the fiscal year 2023. Thank you. Oh, one more? Oh.
So this last slide is a comparison of various communities in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. As you can see, Lawrence is one of the lowest tax bills in the Commonwealth. I think we ranked 351 communities. We're like number 332. And the state average on the bottom, you can see we're way below the state average of $6,719, which is a difference of a little over $3,000. Councilors, we ask you this evening to vote on the factor, which you have done. This will move us forward in submitting the tax rate and recap to the state and sending out the bills by January 1st, and we are on time and on target. If there are any questions this evening, we're here to answer them. If not, our emails are provided. We're more than happy to pick up any phone calls as well. This concludes our presentation.
Thank you very much, Chief Assessor. Are there any questions for the Chief Assessor or the staff, the other assessors? Seeing none, the motion before the council is to vote on tax factor 175. It's been properly seconded. I'm going to, if there's no further discussion, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilor Infante.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes. Yes. Councilor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilor Mariano. Is absent. Councilor Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Councilor Levy.
Yes.
Vice President Estela Reyes.
Yes.
Yes, the motion carries. Thank you so much for the assessor's office and the budget and finance team. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. We're going to go back up to the top of the agenda for public hearings. Document number 121. Clerk, would you please read the public hearing notice? We'll read the whole thing and then the next one we'll truncate it.
Document number 121-22, notice is hereby given that the Lawrence City Council will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, November 15th at 7 p.m. at a public meeting of the Lawrence City Council in the Council Chambers, 200 Common Street, Lawrence, Mass. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021 and in accordance with the recently revised City Council Rule Number 2, this meeting will be hybrid, allowing participation both in person and in the City Council chamber and remotely to accommodate all potential participants with health considerations that prevent them from participating in person. To receive access to the codes or remote participation, please contact the city clerk at Eileen Burnell at cityoflawrence.com at 978-620-3230. The meeting may be viewed on Facebook and YouTube. The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence by further amending by adding the following new paragraph to section 10.36.340 of the Municipal Code handicap parking to be inserted in the proper alphabetical order. Trenton Street, west side, from a point 20 feet from the southwest corner of Buswell Street to point 40 feet from the southwest corner of Buswell Street. To the extent that there exist any ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors?
Motion to approve?
Motion by the Vice President, seconded by Councilor Reyes. Selena Reyes, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The next document is document number 24022. Clerk, would you please read the public hearing notice? Before we get that, can I get a motion just to waive the preamble of
So
the
moved.
motion made by the Councilor Infante, seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Clerk?
Document number 240-22, the purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence by further amending by adding the following section to paragraph 10.36.340 to the Municipal Code, handicap parking, to be inserted in proper alphabetical order. Buswell Street, south side, from a point 55 feet west of the southwest corner of Bunker Hill Street to a point 75 feet to the southwest corner of Bunker Hill Street. To the extent that there exist any ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Councilors?
Motion to approve and waive the 30 days.
Motion by the Vice President to approve and waive the 30 days has been made and properly seconded by Councilor Levy. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Document number 25622.
Number 256-22, the purpose of this hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence by adding the following new paragraph to section 10.36.340 of the Municipal Code, handicap parking, to be inserted in proper alphabetical order. East Haverhill Street, east side, from point 50 feet north of the northeast corner of Elm Street to point 70 feet north of the northeast corner of Bunker Hill Street. To the extent that there exist any ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
The public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by the Vice President, seconded by the Councilor from Prospect Street. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Document 32122.
Document number 321-22, the purpose of this hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence to be further amended by the following section 10.36.260 of the Municipal Code, 15-minute parking, to be inserted in the proper alphabetical order. East Haverhill Street, west side, 0.25 feet north of the northwest corner of Haverhill Street to a point 45 feet north of the northwest corner of Haverhill Street. To the extent that there exist any ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Councilors?
Motion to approve and waive the 30 days.
Second.
Motion is made by the City Representative-elect, seconded by
Street.
the distinguished City Councilor at large, Selena Reyes. All in favor
What is
say
the
aye.
street name?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Coolidge Street, if you need to know. Next.
Okay.
Document number 32722.
The purpose of document number 327-22, the purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence by adding the following paragraph to section 10.36.340 of the Municipal Code, handicap parking, to be inserted in the proper alphabetical order. Hampshire Street, north side, from a point 150 feet west of the northeast corner of Haverhill Street to a point 170 feet west of the northeast corner of Haverhill Street. To the extent there exist any ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by the Council Vice President, seconded by the Councilor at large. Ms. Levy? all in favor-
Prospect Street.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Next document, document 32822.
The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence, further amended by the following new paragraphs to section 10.36.260 of the Municipal Code, 15-minute parking, be inserted in the proper alphabetical order. Hampshire Street, east side, from a point 20 feet north of the northeast corner of Myrtle Street, to point 40 Street north of the northeast corner of Myrtle Street. To the extent that there exist any ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors?
Motion to approve and waive the 30 days.
Second.
Motion made by the distinguished lady from Maple Street, seconded by Councilor Del Rosario from District C. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Juniper.
The ayes have it. Next document is document number 333. Madam Clerk, would you please read the public hearing notice?
Document number 333-22, the purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinance of the City of Lawrence by adding the following new paragraph to section 10.36.340 of the Municipal Code, handicap parking, to be inserted in the proper alphabetical order, Lee Street, south side, from a point 138 feet east of the southeast corner of Wyman Street to a point 158 feet east of the southeast corner of Wyman Street, to the extent that there exist any ordinances to the contrary. They are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
The public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Councilors?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by the Council Vice President, seconded by Councilor Ms. Levy. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The next document is document 334. Would the clerk please read the public hearing notice?
The purpose of said hearing is, document number 334-22, the purpose of this hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence to be further amended by adding the following new paragraphs to section 10.36.340 of the Municipal Code, handicap parking, to be inserted in the proper alphabetical order, Bradford Street, north side, from a point 20 feet west of the northeast corner of Franklin Street to a point 40 feet west of the northeast corner of Franklin Street. To the extent that there exist any ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
The public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors?
Approve.
Second.
Motion made by the Vice President, seconded by Councilor Levy. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're going to,
Ordinance Committee.
we're going to the Ordinance Committee. Madam Chair of the Ordinance.
Yep, 36822, Hispanic Week, Christmas light at O'Connell Park. It had been sent out with favor recommendation, and I make that as a formal motion pending the signatures that I believe needs to be collected tomorrow.
There's a motion that's been made and seconded by the distinguished counselor from Coolidge Street. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
38122, disclosure by municipal employee Captain Frank Martin. It has been sent out with a favor recommendation, and I make that as a formal motion.
Motion made by the Vice President. Is there anybody willing to second this? Seconded by Councilor Levy. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Document 383.
Request for a new ordinance RE salary of the city council. It has been sent out with a favor recommendation to order a public hearing.
Motion's been made to order a public hearing. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Levy. Discussion? Seeing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Document number 384.
84, request to amend ordinance 02.12010 salary of the mayor is also has been sent out with favorable recommendation to order a public hearing, and I make that as a formal motion.
Motion's been made and by the Council Vice President, seconded by Councilor Levy. Discussion? Seeing none. This order a public hearing. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. What old-
If there's no tabled matters to be taken up, we can move on to new business. No tabled matters? Okay, so under new business, document 38922, Gold Star Family Parking Amendment, put on by Councilor Infante, is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 39022, one-way Saratoga Street from Bennington Street to Park Street, one-side parking only, put on by the Vice President, is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 39122, 28 Montgomery Street, request for parking assistance, no parking sign, is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 39222, review and adjustment of fee schedule for the City Clerk's Office, put on by Councilor Rodriguez. That is going to the, do you have a preference? Ordinance, sounds about right. Ordinance Committee.
I was thinking, is it an ordinance?
It's an ordinance, right? It's your, I think it's ordinance. Well, it's a review of this fee schedule. I think we'll send that to the Ordinance Committee, because it's changing the ordinances. But they're changing the ordinances for the fee. I think so. What are you trying to do?
Changing the fees.
That must be an ordinance, okay. 39322, handicap parking, 189 West Street. It's going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 39422, handicap parking at 526 Haverhill Street. That's going to the Ordinance Committee. 39522, 20 Bennett Street, request for parking assistance, no parking sign. That's going to the Ordinance Committee. 39622, Stockton Park, name change to Councilor Roger Toomey Park. Councilor Del Rosario, Vice President Stella Reyes, Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez, Mayor Brian DePena. That's going to the Ordinance Committee.
By the way, Council President, the mayor would like to join in one of these items,
Okay, we will follow up with that. Thank you. The next item is document number 39722, Museum Square Garage, name change to Bread and Roses, Lawrence Municipal Parking Garage. Councilor Del Rosario, Councilor Vice President Stella Reyes, Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez, and Mayor Brian DePena is going to the Ordinance Committee. So at this point, Councilor, I just want to take just a very quick moment. I wrote this so I don't mess up. First of all, I just want to let you all know that I think I am privileged to be serving with all of you, both as someone who's leading this, as also as your partner, and it means an awful lot that I'm sitting in this seat. But I also think that it's important for our City Council President to support the institution of the City Council. While the previous items were properly submitted, I think that it's important that I offer this comment regarding courtesy, respect, and order. It is the tradition of this council to allow the district councilor the courtesy of championing an item in their district, such as handicap parking, or a stop sign, or a park naming. Of course, courtesy is a two-way street, and district councilors should also be mindful that at-large councilors would also appreciate the opportunities to partner on items throughout the city. The district councilor who represents the area for the previous two items was not informed of the matters impacting their district. I would hope that we can return to offering the courtesies that we have in the past. The next document is document number 39822, handicap parking at 50 East Laurel Street, apartment 12-4. That is going to the Ordinance Committee. In document 39922, authorization to expand grant funds Home American Rescue Plan grant for $3,174,052, and that is going to the Budget and Finance Committee. We've already given out the various committee assignments. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
Motion made by the Vice President, seconded by Councilor Stephanie Infante, I believe. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.